Hi, I'm Lacey Philippich, founder of Maker Kids and Money School, and thanks for joining me for this third video in our series about the Maker Kids program. In the previous videos, you've heard a little bit about why I started the program, where the idea came from, and the amazing kidpreneurs that I've met along the way, and the processes they've been through. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about our program and how it works and what the kids actually go through. We have 6 stages in our program to become a Maker Kid. The first 3 all start with P, easy to remember. They are pick, prove and prepare. And they happen in that order for a very specific reason. The first stage is picking, coming up with an idea. So for Stella it was the affirmation cards, for Ash it was the lip balm, Jake it was plants, Zane it was wood art, Emma it was lemonade. The first thing that kids need to do is come up with an idea. Pick an idea that they want to start working on. And the reason why they need to pick an idea, of course, is so that they can do some analysis on it. If they've got 50 ideas, it's a bit hard. Picking 1 or 2 is enough to start with. They need to pick what they're going to have a look at so they can see what their competitors do and do a little bit of preliminary analysis. Once they've picked an idea and said, oh yeah, I think there's room in the area for this and that I haven't got too many competitors, or that it's just the right kind of level for them to be pitching at, they then can move on to proving the idea. Now, why does prove come before prepare? Well, this is a bit about the lean startup idea or the minimum viable product. Now, I don't necessarily say that you need to have a minimum viable product or that that's the way to go, because personally that's not how I roll. I want to have something I'm really proud of, and so I do a bit more work than perhaps would be advocated by these guys. But what you definitely should do is do some proof that your business idea is sound before you put in the effort of writing a business plan, a financial plan and a marketing plan. Now, this means that you're going to actually ask people to pay, not whether they would pay. This is not going to mum and dad and saying, hey mum, would you buy this? It's saying, hey mum, buy this. And then if they don't buy, then you know you haven't got the right idea. It might be as simple as taking advance orders or taking bookings for a service, that kind of thing. But you actually need to go out and ask your target market to buy what you're proposing. And if possible, get to the point where they would be willing to actually hand money over to you. You don't actually have to take the money. You just want to say, oh yeah, well I can take your order or I can take your booking. But you need to go out with the idea that you've got, whether it's like a lawn mowing service, or are you going to make cupcakes? Or are you going to sell some of your art? You need to go out and make sure that you've got the pricing right and the product right, and that you know who your market is. Because if you haven't proven that first, and then you put in all the effort of writing a business plan and a marketing plan and doing a financial plan, stuff that is quite exhaustive, then you're going to be really annoyed if you get to that point of launching and no one buys. You're going to be like Zane. You're going to get out there and go, I've got this product and I've got the price, but no one's buying. What do I do? We can avoid that by going through the process of proving first. Okay, so let's say you've proved it. You've got your product idea, you've gone out and asked your target market and they've said, yes, I would love to place a pre-order, or yes, please book me in. Now you want to do the preparation step. This is the stuff where you go through your business plan, your financial plan, and your marketing plan. Now, when people hear the word business plan, they often freak out because they think of a 30-page document that you're going to take to the bank. And that's certainly the case with some of the parents that I speak to. For me, a business plan is as simple as answering 5 questions. You know, what is your product? What differentiates you? Who's your target market? What's your brand about? And that kind of stuff. Very simple. And it can just be a sentence for each one written on a piece of paper. But we go through that process to make sure that we understand exactly who we are, what we're offering, and what sets us apart. We definitely need a financial plan. So do you need to buy anything to start? Do you need to buy, in my case with my hair app stall, I needed to buy cotton. So I had to get some money first of all, which I fortunately had in savings, to buy some of that cotton, and then I get paid back for that later. As part of that financial plan, you also want to think about how much you can sell and how much you're available to sell. So for example, if you're doing lawn mowing bookings, can you take 50 bookings a week, or can you only take maybe 3 or 4? Do you need to buy any safety equipment? Do you need to buy goggles and that kind of stuff? Making sure that's all in your financial plan. And also investigating whether you need any licenses or insurance. If you're going to sell food, for example, you're supposed to be under a commercial license in Australia. So things like that are what we do with the financial plan and the preparation there. You also need a marketing plan. How are you going to get word about your product out there? Are you going to advertise online? Are you going to have a Facebook page? Are you going to share flyers in your neighbourhood and drop letterboxes? Are you going to just have word of mouth? Are you going to call family and friends? Are there shops that you can put posters in? Having that plan ready to go. So that's all the preparation, and that's probably about 60% of the work, maybe even 75%. By that point, you have a working prototype, you have a working product, product, you've proved that it works, and you have all your plans in place. And then it's ready for the next stage, which is launch. Now, with our kidpreneur programs, and particularly with the Maker Kids Club, we like to have a function or a marketplace at which kids can actually launch and sell. So they can wait until that function, they can come along, set up a stand and sell to people. And we do that specifically only for kids. We love having them in markets if they want to participate, but generally local markets will have a fee for their stall. We like to charge a token fee of $5 just so the kids have that in their budget. They understand that that's a cost. We like to make sure they get that money back through prizes. That's about getting the kids to be, I guess, on a level playing field as well. It is nice sometimes for kids, and we certainly have kidpreneurs like Ash who go out and sell at local markets and compete with all the grown-ups as well. And it certainly is a differentiator for them, but we don't want to force them to do that. We want to give them the opportunity to launch. So we have a specific date, and that's what they work towards. Now, of course, if it's a service-based business at that marketplace, they just promote their service and take bookings. And at the end of that, they can decide what they're going to do. The next two stages are where most of the learning happens. So you've gone through the process of doing, you've launched, now it's time to reflect. And we go through a reflection cycle, which is a structured 6 questions to think about what went well and what didn't go so well and what you do differently next time. And out of that, we like the kids to think about, did they enjoy the experience? Is this the sort of thing they'd like to pursue in the future? Do they want to keep their business going? Would they rather just finish it and leave it there? And if they were going to do it again, what would they do differently? And of course, that's where we get a lot of our learnings, isn't it, when we reflect on them? So we go through that cycle a couple of times with good things and bad things so the kids can think about what they would do differently and what was a positive experience. The final stage is the really important one from the financial literacy and money perspective, which is the growth stage. What are you going to do with that money? And I'm not talking just about growing the business. It may be the case that they want to grow the business and they want to invest some money back into it. But what are they going to do with that money personally? Are they going to put it into savings and earn interest? Are they going to buy some investments? Or are they going to spend it? And having a think about how they can use that money for growth. And that's a great introduction to financial literacy and to get kids excited about investing and saving and doing all those things that doesn't matter where the money came from. If you don't do the right thing with the money after you get it, then you will always be broke. That's what the point of this exercise is at the end, and that's my getting my financial literacy and capability stuff in there. So there you go, that's the 6 steps that the kids go through. They pick their idea, they prove it, and then they prepare, and that's where most of the work happens. And then they launch, and then after the launch we reflect and we go through the growth cycle. So that's certainly what we think is a term worth of effort for kids, at least 3 months. We like them to have that time so they can not feel under too much pressure to get it completed in a certain amount of time. So if you're thinking about how long for kids to do this, I would say estimate 30 to 60 minutes a week for 10 to 12 weeks. And that's probably enough to go through that process from beginning to end. If there are kids out there that want to do it quicker, want to do it over a weekend, you could. It's just up to your child, and you'll know your child better than we do. So there you go, that's the information about how the program runs. That's what we do when we work with kids. If you've got any questions or you'd like to find out more about the program, please get in touch. You can use our contact form on our website. Happy to answer any of your questions. And of course, if we're coming to your school, then you'll have opportunities to talk to us in person as well. All right, thanks so much for joining me for this series. I hope you got something out of it, and I can't wait to hear the stories of your little kidpreneurs. You please do share with us what they come up with. We love hearing about what they do. It's very inspiring for us and for the other children out there. Okay, take care. We'll see you and your Maker Kids soon. Thanks. Bye.